do we start recording?
So
do you know how do we record?
when I hit on the record button, it says please request recording from the meeting host, which is you.
I don't see any recording.
I've got it on Camtasia. I'm recording it right now on Camtasia. So
Okay, that would
if you
work
can't
as well.
figure it out, or if you need a backup, I've got it.
Okay, so see that basically the first thing we want to get, I think this is the only part that we need to understand is the specific times, and you basically can identify blocks using this define block tool.
Sorry, I can't see anything different. Hold on, maybe I'm not on the Zoom. Okay, start that over, please. Can you start that over? Like close all that and show where to get it up?
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, so Siddharth basically knows how to get to this screen, and the key thing is to identify each block. And
Right.
to do that, we use the define blocks tool.
Right.
And we identify the marker sequence. And in your case, we need to identify. Well, we have 4 different conditions. For each condition, let's say, like the first one starts with 255, and I don't know like the specific numbers right now, but let's say this ends with 150, right? This is the first, and then we need to give a consistent string label for each of them.
Right.
Let's say this is the first story, or this is the leader versus follower, and etc. Whatever makes sense. We can have multiple labels as well. We can say etc. And then when we run, it basically tells you there's only one block, and then if I hit save, it identifies that specifically. Do you see it underneath the screen?
Yes.
And then we repeat this process by clearing this, and then we identify another one. Let's say 260, whatever, and then it can be multiple as well. But then we can say second follower, whatever. And then,
So, Dr. As, can I ask a question here? I mean, we exactly identified the blocks. So the first block starts at 209. The first 209 marker that you see on the left, that's when they begin hearing the story. And if I say 150, it will catch the first 150 marker, right? Because for some reason
Let's do that. So 209.
Yes,
right?
and 150.
And what is the end, basically?
The
150.
next 150 marker is the end of the story.
Yes, so the first, then you see basically it goes to the next one.
Okay.
So if you want to basically go beyond that, for example, until other one, you can have multiple versions. Like you can say, I want 2 of those or 3 of those. You see, and then you can say, I want to basically change. You can say block and includes the outer box. And but look, it will be now longer. You see?
Yes, I see it. Yes.
It becomes like 3 of them. It basically identifies back to back. You need 3 of them.
Yeah.
So you can basically use different configurations of patterns to have specifically exactly what you need.
Yeah.
So you can adjust this, and then it will automatically find all the multiple things. The key thing here is to label. Make sure you add these here as labels. Once you have systematically identified all these, right, you can actually save them here as a new preset. So you can repeat this process in other with other files. You can save them here. You can say add new preset, right? And it will save it. And then next time you can just click on these different things, and it will automatically set up everything for you.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Okay. So it will appear here.
Right.
And then another tool is actually the automation tool. So in here, actually, you can create an entire new multiple series of definitions, all combined. Like this one, for example, like this one combines like, look, all these 7 different versions It's like each of them has different patterns, like 20 to 40, it has its label, and this is a different task condition. These are the markers, and it has its own label. Do you see? And then you can run this at once. Basically, you can have all your blocks, and like each preset can have multiple blocks. So it's n times m times blocks can be defined with one click.
I see. Yes. Okay.
All right.
Now, Hassan, what if we have for a different subject, instead of 209 as the starting point and it goes up to 150, what if the 209 is a different number, but we identify it as the same?
Yeah, that's basically we keep the task conditions the same number across all the experiments. That's basically one of the things that we do in the design. Right, we basically that so that we can do this kind of automation. But if it is not like consistent in your case, what you can do is the following. These are the files that we have for each subject, right?
Yep.
And then this is the MRK file. Okay. So since we have the MRK file and these are all the data already backed up, saved. Now, what we can do is open this with an editor like Notepad, like here. So it's a text file, right? And then this is the first column, and you can even open it in Excel. This is the first column, that is the time, and this is the second column, that is the value that we see.
So we can go in and change that. We can change the markers there. Okay.
You can even delete some of the unnecessary ones, like if there are too many of them, like I see 100, 100, 100, whatever, like you don't need all those, right? So you can edit this MRK file to make it consistent with whatever you want to do, like in the data analysis. And since we already have the backup, it's fine to make this edit for all subjects. And then you can change this number. You can change, basically, you can delete some of these, or you can add extra markers. So you can basically copy this. You can say, I want another marker exactly here, this time. You see? And
yep.
You can say 100. And as long as you keep this consistent, like, it's fine. And
the first column is the time, right?
The first column is the time. This is basically the time with respect to this initial, start time.
Yeah.
And the second column is the marker number. This third column is something you don't need. Don't worry about this. This is basically the row number in the original data file, in the NIR file. This is no row draft. So this is the NIR file. This is the MRK file. It corresponds to the row number. It says 57th row, like based on this time. So this is based on the row count is after this. So this is the first one, second one, third one, etc. So 57 is like, then it goes to here, like 41. This is also the time in any case. Like 41, 64, 41. So it corresponds to this line. All right?
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, this is, actually, it's kind of, you can see that 57. So this is basically 32, right? Line. So if you can verify this by this as well. Like, look, this one we identified is in 89. 89 minus 32, 57. And that's what we see in here as well.
Right.
So in any case, you don't, just for your information, you don't need this column, this third column. You can just keep it as is and then focus on these two columns if you are making edits. And you can change the value. For example, if 209 is not consistent with the same task condition, you can say 220 for everybody. Okay? So you have 4 task conditions. You need to have 4 consistent beginning markers and end markers, and you can delete extra. Like you can see, for example, here I see like where was it? 100. Like here you see 100 like every like 100 millisecond, or like, because this is the millisecond
Yeah,
part.
that's some sort of who knows what happened, but
Yeah, these are like many of these like coming one after another. Like you don't need all of these, right? You can just delete if it is unnecessary from your perspective. So the important thing is you basically identify what is important here in terms of the beginning and end of each task condition, and each task condition is labeled like by the number of beginning, and then you can keep the end one the same. Like you can always, for example, use 150 as your end marker, but the beginning is 4 different, like to indicate your 4 task conditions. Does it make sense?
yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Ayaz,
Yes.
what if we
Yes.
get like 4 markers?
It's
Yeah,
actually 8 markers that we need to identify, right? We go have
No,
8.
just four, right? Because
Yeah, just 4. Because you can the end markers, where the blocks end, can be the same across different conditions. The beginning should be different. That indicates different task conditions, and you have 4 task conditions.
But we've got 2 levels for each condition. Do we need to
we only
identify?
got 2 conditions, Dr. Ayaz, low status and high status.
Yes.
So if I have 4 markers, then beginning of low status, end of low status, beginning of high status, end of high status, that is all
Yeah.
we care about, right?
Yeah. Let me see. Yeah, the low and high status, and then
So we don't need the story number?
I mean that can be an extra thing.
Right. So yeah, we've got
So-
that. We just need to identify low and high status and
So we have low and high status, but do we have any different groups within the subjects? Can you refresh our
Yes. Yes. We have the groups are loosely rated on their own self-reported status.
Uh-huh.
So the listener has a status, in other words.
Okay. So if we have like then here it's like 2 by 2 manipulation. If the listener is also considered, like you have 2 subgroups and then 2 manipulations in your presented stimuli.
No, so listener status is only a measured variable, right? It is not manipulated.
Okay.
So that
No,
remains
it's not manipulated, it's
constant.
measured. Yes, correct.
That remains constant. The gender of the listener remains constant.
Okay.
Right. So those are not manipulations, Dr. Ayaz. All we are manipulating is high status, low status, and then there are 8 different stories. And
Yes, yes,
well, there's
correct.
four stories told by a high status and a low status individual.
4 stories and 8 different. You said speakers, right?
8 different treatments.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but no, but there are 4 different stories. Each story is told by a high and low.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, then you need to identify, because you need to identify first of all which story it is, plus if it is low and high.
Right.
Yeah,
So we've
So,
got 8.
because later on we want to check, for example, story number 1 across all. So that's basically a factor in the analysis, the story. So because
4 cross 4, right?
yes, so it's like 4 times 2.
4 times 2, yes, yes.
So one is factor is in the analysis story. It's 4 levels.
Yes.
And then times 2 manipulations. I mean that's times the level, basically high and low.
Right.
So it's 4 by 2. In the basically omnibus test. Later on.
And then the speaker could have a gender, so another 2 levels.
I wouldn't include that in the first analysis. That can be a secondary analysis, like looking at the gender effect. In the first one, we can just check overall what is the thing that we see, and then we can look at the gender effect. So let me see the gender effect. Like, is it balanced? In other words, we have equal number of distribution of male and female for all these task conditions.
It is, yeah, it is balanced. I think so.
Okay.
Right?
But we can link all that up in the Excel file. All we need to do, all we're talking about right now, is identifying which speaker, and that really tells us the status and the story.
Yeah, no, all I was kind of trying to understand is, do we somehow need to include that information when we create the new marker dictionary?
Yeah, you need to. I mean, that's basically already in the subject numbers.
Okay, okay.
So after all this data is generated, after we have the universal table, that you already have the subject number, you can add another column, and based on the subject number, you can add the gender, male and female.
Okay.
Yes. So you don't need to worry about it at this step.
Yeah.
Okay, so sounds good.
Okay,
Right.
so I
Now
think
then, Dr. Ayas, coming back to fnirsoft, once I save it,
Yes. So what you need to do is the following. Let's say you have multiple these like blocks identified.
4 blocks, yeah, for
Yes.
every subject.
Yeah. Click save,
Yeah,
and then you can say all blocks. Click next,
yeah,
and then select block times,
okay.
and then click next, and then it says data space, and then you can just open the data space right now, and then it says success. And in the data space, this is the light graph that we worked on. This is the object, and this is the data, which is actually the block types. And then the label even have the first and follower, the labels, and etc. And then you can even double click and see it as an array, like the start time and end time. Like if you have 4 blocks, it will be 4 rows.
Right.
So, and then what you need to do is to save all variables
Yeah,
as an FST file.
okay.
All right, and then you can basically go to a new file folder, and then the important thing is you just basically give this name, like let's say output folder. You can just make sure all the subjects are there. Output folder, and then you can say this is subject 32, S32 times .fst.
Nice, okay.
Right, and then you can just change this number with all the subject number.
Yeah.
This is 32 because here we have the file subject numbers 32. You just use the same one, S32 times, and then you collect all these FST files. And then once you're done, you can just say delete everything, and then you start for the next subject. Okay? Makes sense?
So it is necessary to delete this one before starting the next subject.
Yes, because otherwise you will have multiple blocks accumulate over here.
Oh, okay, okay, I see.
Yeah, you need to delete because we want one, variable for each subject.
So separate file for each subject, right?
Exactly.
Okay. So then we'll first work on the marker dictionary in an Excel sheet and remove all the unnecessary markers except the 4 blocks.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then you can just create them. And this is basically the file.
Right.
And then you need to do this for all subjects.
For all 30, 32, 33, whatever.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, sounds good. I think we'll recreate the marker dictionary, make sense of what is going on, and then I think that will significantly simplify the entire analysis.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
Sounds like a plan. Sounds good to me.
Very good.
I will be in there on Monday. Sid, I will come anytime you tell me to be there.
Dr. Likidi, when do we want to meet on Monday?
Well, I've got this doctor's appointment in the morning at 9, and I should be able to get in around noon, is my guess.
So noon is good then. Noon we can meet, right? And we don't need Dr. Ayaz because he has already explained us. We'll just do the groundwork and then
Sounds
give it
good.
to Dr. Ayaz.
Yeah, and I have a faculty meeting at noon. Sorry. So, okay. Yeah, just let me know if you have any questions.
Sure.
And I would be happy to, talk and etc. if needed.
Sure, sure.
Okay.
Thanks, Dr. Ayaz.
Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan.
Thank you, sir. Okay.
This is exciting.
Yes.
Finally, we're going to get there. I want to get to that conference.
Yes, perfect.
So we get that information. We can definitely go there with something meaningful. Thank you so much.
Sure. Thank you. Nice talking to you all. Take care.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
you too. Okay,
Bye-bye.
I'm gonna stop recording this.